Hello, welcome back to Sextras.
Where we talk about sex and all the extras.
Yes, I'm Honey, and my mum wanted to call me Molly, but then for some reason she did like a 180 and called me Honey instead.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's a 180.
No, because it's quite different levels of names.
I guess.
You get me?
Yeah. That's true. But still, I think she chose right.
Thanks. Yeah. I agree.
Hi, guys. I'm Maria, and my fun fact is that one time... This is really embarrassing. And I just remembered that my mom's going to hear this, so I'm so sorry, Mom. One time I was on holiday with my family. And we went to a few places in the US, and Washington was like the last place, and we stayed there. But then my mum, my sister, and my little brother left, and it was just me, my older brother, and my dad. So we were only in one hotel room, and like I usually don't stay with the boys. Like I usually stay with my sister and my mum, or just my sister. So anyway, it was like just us, but I think this was like right around the time that I discovered masturbating, like, and fully gone into it, because like those few days were rough. Like I was dying. So then
Oh my god.
my dad would like go to work like during the day, and then me and my brother used to just like do whatever. And so this one time we were in this like department store, like John Lewis but American. Like I think it was a Macy's, I'm pretty sure. And my brother and I like split up, and like there was a time that we could just roam around and do whatever, and we split up. And so I went to the bathroom and like put porn on my phone and just...
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love that. I actually respect the honesty though.
I was not expecting that to be your fun fact.
So yeah.
Me neither. I was like, she's gonna say she hooked up with someone, and then I was like, no.
Like, where is this going? I think I already knew that, but I didn't expect that you were going to say it.
Yeah. I always forget that I did that. I think I like try to block it out a
fun
little
fact.
bit. But yeah, that's me. But yeah, anyway, guys. This week we have a really special guest. Her name is Mary, and I found her on TikTok, and she is just really funny and just brightened up my day, you know. So I thought she'd be a really good guest, because she just seems like a really nice person, and she is quite a nice person from what I know. So
Like, she's alright.
well, we're gonna talk about being single and all of those types of things. Not to say that Mary's like a staple single person or anything, but just we thought it'd be a good viewpoint to talk about, because we constantly go on about our boyfriends. So I thought maybe it'd be interesting to talk about something else. But yeah,
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Mary. That made me feel like that was so cute. Thank you. Just to continue on with the single thing. My name's Mary, and I've never been in a proper relationship. And I'm 21.
loads of people
But it's
haven't.
okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yay!
And that's relevant.
You've survived.
So, just thought if you're listening and you're the same, don't worry. I'm like here. I'm alive. I'm functioning. It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like we have to normalize this, like, not being in a relationship. I don't think everyone...
Yeah.
Those people that are in relationships when they're like 12 and you're like, why?
Yeah, and you guys like are in relationships, and we need someone on here to just be like, that's so weird. Like, that's not normal.
I agree.
Yeah, Mary's here to just like, tell us that we're living our lives wrong, basically.
I'm the designated single person. I'm perfect. So happy.
Yeah.
I'm screaming. You don't have to keep saying sorry. Like, it's fine. Like, I just love it. You're like, I don't want to offend you. I'm like,
It's
honestly,
just
you're
a
not.
fact.
If you're like, Mary's bitter, sad, single, thanks for coming on, I'd be like, okay, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to start the episode with a little segment where we asked our followers about what the best part of being single is. So, Mary, do you want to start us off with the submissions?
Yes. So the first one is the best part of being single is not wondering if they've texted. Lol.
Lol, I feel
Lol.
that.
Yeah.
Ah, the
Sure.
sweet relief that would have.
Yeah. I'd love to say that's a good part about being single, but I'm about to expose myself. I constantly worry about if there's someone I fancy, if like they haven't, if I've sent them a message and they haven't replied and it's been 6 hours, that's like,
what about all the like?
at least I know if I'm in a relationship that they like me.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. What about?
I'm not gonna lie, I read that and I was like, did they read this wrong? Because I love that they feel like that, but personally, I'm just like, just can't relate.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes like when you have no one, I guess it's when you have no one and like you're not crushing on anyone either, then it's like you don't have
okay.
you don't have to think
When
that.
you have no one.
Yeah, when you have
mean,
no
like,
one in your life.
I feel like I'd overthink it either way. Like if I was in a relationship and they weren't replying to me, I completely agree. I would be like, that's it.
No,
we're
yeah,
over.
that's what
Oh
I
my
mean.
God.
That's what like I live with every day of my life. Like it's just constantly like, have they texted? Have they texted? Have they texted? Whereas like if I wasn't and if I was just like didn't care about anyone, you know, it would just be like, who cares?
That's true. But like I'm that crazy bitch that's like, okay, I sent them a message about something that's like not even emotional and they haven't replied yet. It's been 10 minutes. I guess it's not gonna work out.
I'm that bitch too.
Yeah, that is literally Maria. Once we went on holiday together when she was like with her ex, and the whole holiday,
And it was like my first time like ever having
Yeah.
anything though.
the whole holiday was her being like, it's been 2 minutes, honey. Why hasn't she replied? Why hasn't she replied? Honey, what? It's been 2 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God.
But then I'm also like, that means I actually care about you.
Exactly.
So maybe it's a nice thing. Me justifying it.
You can care about someone and not text them all the time. I feel like
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
there's a balance. There's a balance, definitely.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm the worst texter. Like I always read things and don't reply. So it's so funny that I will be that person if I fancy someone that's like
Yeah, same.
obsessed with it when I do the same thing. It just means you're special.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they think that's a good thing about being single. I'm happy for that.
Yeah, true.
Yes, I'm happy for them too. Okay, so the next one, someone said, I'm not emotionally dependent on someone. So I feel like this is kind of similar, but you can also be in a relationship and not be emotionally dependent. But I feel like if you know that's how you are in a relationship, then that would be very much of a relief when you're single to not feel that way.
Yeah. You're right. Like I totally agree with that in the sense that if I like someone that much and we're together, that's that vulnerability of, oh, once that goes, what am I gonna do? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's also so
Yeah.
false because I feel like healthy relationships is codependent. It's not
Yeah.
that toxic level of dependence where you're like, I don't know.
I'm not emotionally dependent on someone. Maybe if we don't take it as far as like emotionally dependent or whatever, just sort of more like in a light-hearted way. I kind of get, obviously when you're in a relationship, the shit you do affects someone else's emotions, and likewise, like they do affects you also. In that way, it's kind of nice to not have that responsibility. Like, not that you're responsible for someone's feelings or whatever, but you know what I mean.
No, yeah.
You
like,
just
I don't
have more
to think-
accountability for it, you know.
Yeah. If I lie in bed all day, I don't have to think like, oh, I don't want to like feel like I'm not. That's kind of similar to the first one. Don't have to worry if I'm not.
Yeah.
Like it's just me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is something that I find really difficult about being in a relationship as well. When someone does something that I know they could just do in their normal like single life, but then I'm there like, why did you do that? Because I don't want to feel like I'm nagging them. But it's also like, well, you do have to take into consideration what other people feel when you do certain things, and I guess you do kind of sacrifice a bit of your freedom in a way, but it's also, you get so many other positives too that yeah, it's a difficult one, I guess.
Yeah, people said freedom to do whatever the fuck you want, and like freedom in general. A couple people said that. But I actually completely okay. I really didn't want this episode to be like pro relationships, but I'm just gonna throw in my little like pro relationship thing in there.
Well, yeah, do it.
Like it really bugs me when people like just break up with someone or whatever, or like when talk about being single and it's like, yeah, but then you're like free to do whatever you want or whatever. But I think when you're in a relationship, you're as free to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to go along the thing of like, you choose to love someone every day or whatever. But I say to my boyfriend all the time, like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And like, likewise. And I just choose to not do those things because it's not what I want to do, you know? I want to like be with him, whatever. Anyway, so that kind of annoys me, but I do get where people are coming from when they say freedom because of exactly what we were just saying about what you do is affecting someone else in like a deep way.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like I read that as in like freedom to do whatever the fuck you want. Almost sounds like you're saying like things that the other person doesn't like, I flirt with other people. I know that's not what they mean.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if that many freedoms were cut off, that's not good. But I understand. I don't know, I'm single, but I'm not in the place of like all relationships are awful. Like I don't feel bitter about it. I think I would obviously like to be in a relationship if we're being honest. But that can almost go on the side of like saying that you're not free in a relationship, but like you are with your life. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. I don't know.
Next one.
Can flirt with multiple people for fun and hoe around. And wouldn't we love to see that if we weren't in a pandemic? No joke, sorry. I'm not gonna lie, I am that person that is a little bit bitter because of the pandemic with being single. And I hate to say it because I want to be like, I love myself, blah, blah. But like, I feel like you just have to have that stage. Like you do.
Yeah. It's a rite of passage.
It definitely is. And like flirting over text is not the same thing.
Oh my god, no, definitely
but it
not.
is fun.
Like, I hate it. Oh my god.
No,
like,
but it is
when
you're
flirting over text.
It's fun, but when it's, I don't know, I just always feel like if it's someone that I don't actually know, so like
I guess.
dating apps, I guess, I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to pull through with this in real life. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm just gonna be awkward.
Yeah, if it's like natural, but if it feels forced, then it's like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like maybe that's just me. Like, you can't get the same natural chemistry over text, just because tone is not there.
Yeah. No, to be fair, like, one time I was texting this guy from Tinder for so long and like really got on with him and I was like really obsessed with him, remember, hun?
Yeah.
And like I really wanted to meet him, whatever, and then we met and like I thought we had like really good chemistry, like honestly, like it was great, whatever, and then we met and I was like, oh no, this is not it, like it's not that. And it was like nothing against him, it was just like it wasn't the same. So I completely agree with you. But yeah, I think everyone should have a hoe face. And like, it's so fun to just flirt and be able to just do that. I miss it sometimes.
The next one is the freedom to get to know new people romantically and not romantically.
You can get to know people not romantically if you're in a
relationship.
I
think what we're learning from this is they have like a toxic view of what relationships are, which is like fair, I do get it, because after I was in a relationship the first time I was like, ew, I hate relationships, I don't want to be in one, I just want to be single, like being single is great. So then you kind of make everything to do with relationships seem like it's really bad, but I don't think you're gonna like invite the right people into your life by thinking that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just judging all of these because I do agree that is nice, but then you can always get to know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys, but I do think that there are like people that don't have the same kind of like boundaries or thought process, you know, and I don't think that it's necessarily that it's like unhealthy relationships or whatever, even though maybe this particular thing, like it is a bit unhealthy, but some people don't have the same notion of like what a healthy relationship is. Like it kind of looks different, so I don't know, I kind of get it, but because
or maybe you're not trying to find new people. I
don't know, maybe not freedom, but I also get when you're in a relationship you can be a bit more closed off, because I know that at least like when I was single, or like times where I've been single, I'm way more like getting to know new people, way more like out there, and you just like meet way more people for some reason, because you're not just like cocooned with your person. That is true. So I don't know if that's what this person meant, but like that's another angle of it.
I agree that you're definitely more open to it,
Yeah.
whether you mean to
Yeah.
or not.
And like even with me like going out and meeting guys or whatever, even if I didn't want it to be flirty or whatever, I'd be like way more cautious now. I wouldn't be as friendly to people that I think could be like that, just because like it's like I have a boyfriend and like I want to be respectful, even though there's not that boundary set anyway. But it's like in my head, obviously what people think of like how much you can really like do and interact with other people, and like jealousy and all those issues, and like that lives in everyone's head. It's just way bigger in some people's.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Someone else said being able to wholeheartedly show love to people that deserve it. I think this is like also getting to kind of what I was trying to say. Also, sometimes when you're in a relationship, you put a lot more of your energy and like your love there than all the other people, and like some people that maybe you want to show them love in some kind of way, but you can't because it would be weird if you did that, you know? There's like all these weird like I kind of get where they're coming from, and it's kind of sad.
No, like you do have to balance, like me now, like me and my best friends, whatever. If I then was with someone like that, you do have to direct more energy to them. That's just how it works. And that doesn't mean your friendship dies in your head or whatever, but you have to be able to be better at balancing it. And like it's easier if I don't have to think about balancing stuff, because I'm just like, well, I'll just do with my friends whenever. But that is a tricky thing to deal with. That's something I don't have to think about. Like I'm just gonna go on FaceTime with whoever. And if they're like, oh, I'm having a night with my boyfriend, I'm like, oh yeah, fair. That's a thing you have to do.
You have to spend time with people you're dating.
Yeah. That's how you maintain relationships. But there's always time to show love to people. It's hard times. Always be positive to everyone, I think. That's cheesy.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially right now.
It's so funny how so many of these I'm thinking about differently pre-COVID. I hate to talk about COVID, but it's
inevitable.
Like, yeah, if I was out clubbing every weekend, freedom to flirt with multiple people and hoe around, hell yeah. Right now, I'm like in my house. Okay. Not being anxious about being good enough. Oh, if you're not actively looking for anyone, sure. Yes, if you've accepted that and you're like if I'm happy just being with myself. But if there's someone I really like, or I'm thinking about, I really want to try and be in a relationship, that's always on my mind. I feel like more so because if I'm comfortable in my relationship, which I'm not saying is easy, because I understand, I think in a relationship I would also be like, oh, why do you like me? But I feel that massively now. I'm always thinking, oh, I don't want to pop up to that person because I'm below them, blah, blah, blah. But I love that this person feels like that. Like, get it?
Yeah.
I just took it to a really deep place, sorry.
No, but I completely get what you're saying, though. I think when you're single, you go about your life until you find someone that you really like. And then you're still single, but you're in, like, the in-between stages of, oh, I have to be, like, the best version of myself so the other person likes me back. And it's also like that at the start of the relationship. But then, like you said, when you're comfortable in the relationship, that kind of goes away. So it is this weird position of you're like constantly trying to be your best self, but then you also want to be yourself, and then it's like this like weird tension and anxiety around it, which I hate that personally. I think that's like the worst part of the relationship, but for some people that's their favorite part. The next one, you get to find yourself and look after yourself, which I think is very important. Yeah, definitely.
That is true. I think that's something I definitely learned when I went through a really hard time and was single. Like when I was at my worst, I didn't even have time to think about anyone else. I would not have been able to do that. And I think if I had that someone there, that would have halted my recovery in a way. And that's not the same for everyone at all. That's just because I was single when I started getting on well and when I started getting better. So everything I know about myself, I'm lucky enough to I properly know myself now, and I know it's not contingent on another person. But then obviously for some people that's really important, and another person completely transforms them, and it's like their support, and that's amazing as well. For me, I don't think I would know what is good and what is bad for me as well as I do now, but that's literally because I wasn't able to give anyone else my time in a way that was needed. I don't know.
I'm very much a promoter of, I think everyone should be single at some point in their lives, regardless of whether it's for a long time or a short period, because I think it just does grant you this perspective that being in a relationship doesn't necessarily have. And like there's that thing that people say, like, you can't love someone until you love yourself, and it's like, it's so stupid, but you don't even have to love yourself fully, but just actually know yourself.
Yes.
And get to know yourself and know what it looks like to get to know yourself.
Yes. And it helps you know what you would want and expect from someone else, which is important.
Yeah, exactly. And like what we were talking about earlier, how you were saying like there's this taboo around being single for like a long time when you're 21, which I don't even think is like too old to like not have been in a relationship. It's so stupid.
Thanks.
It grants you all this time to actually know what you want, and I feel like we'll get into this later, but you seem to know what you really want now.
Yeah, I used to resent it. Like when I was in a bad place, I'd be like, that's so embarrassing, all that. But now I'm like, oh no, because now I feel like I know more about, that's so cheesy, oh my god, I know more about myself and what I need from another person, and I could have very easily just been carried away, and that wouldn't have been good. So that's just me, because I think for some people a relationship they're in is nothing but healthy and like takes the best out of them. So
but at the same time as well, you're not just gonna like find someone if you're not in a good place, or like
exactly
you don't know what you want, and then they just magically give you exactly what you need.
That is also such a misconception, isn't it? I feel like so many people are like, if I'm in a relationship all my problems will be solved. No, you need to look after yourself.
And it's like granting yourself the respect to actually figure out what those things look like, and like what you want from life and from a partner. I don't know, it's weird that people just go from relationship to relationship and they have no idea.
And if you're not comfortable with your own company and with yourself, that's hard. Like you need to make sure, like it's not a bad thing, but I think probably a lot of people are, like regardless of what's going on at the moment, because obviously that's a big thing with being by yourself. But like I definitely feel like there are people, which is not a bad thing, if you've one of those people who is in relationships consistently and doesn't like hates being single, like make sure that you're okay with being with yourself, because that's so important. I don't know. And
that's the thing about COVID as well. Like at the start of the pandemic, I was like, maybe this will actually be kind of a good thing. Obviously that was a year ago, but I was like, wow, maybe this will be a good thing, because people will actually have the time to get to know themselves and like have to sit by themselves and really sit with their own consciousness and think about where the world has come to, and reflect on everything that goes on in life. So I think maybe it has positive in a way. Obviously so much has changed since then, but
too much time can also be too much time.
We know ourselves too much now, so we're like, okay, but like
I know who I am now.
Someone else.
Like I get it.
Okay, Maria, the last one,
being your only priority.
Woo.
I really relate to that.
I think, but also when you're single, it's not like you're your only priority. Like, as I'm assuming you have friends and you have family, so.
Friends, no, I don't. Sorry. What was my
what's
reaction?
that?
Just to be sarcastic. Yeah, I'm like, friends and family. It's just me out here. Completely. Like my friends are the best thing in my life, and so is my family. I feel like I'm really lucky. As much as I'll complain about them living at home at this age during a pandemic, like I'm very lucky with the relationships I have, and I feel like I try and put energy into those. Like I am obviously a big priority, but if one of my friends isn't doing well, I'd hate to think that I wouldn't prioritize them. But also my friends who are in relationship don't not prioritize me is the other thing. Like I completely, not that I get what they're saying. They're obviously talking about like looking after yourself and making sure you know yourself. But like all my friends that are in relationships, I am still just as close with them as I was before they were in relationships, because that's our friendship. Like when you have that good friendship, it doesn't matter. Cheesy. But I get what they're saying. But like I am not my only priority, I'll be honest.
No, but I think like when I read that question, I was like, Yeah, I feel like when I'm in a relationship, at least, I tend to really focus my whole life around that person, and it's like kind of everything starts revolving around them, and it's like it's not that I completely neglect my friends and it's like, who are you kind of thing. It's like it's just that person just is more like, I just care more, like not in a
Yeah, no, I
horrible
get that.
way. It's just in that moment in
No.
time, it's just like my priority in a way, and even like comes before anything
Mm.
I do. And it's like it's a problem, and I think it is a problem because it's like I put everything to the side, you know. And I think if this person kind of means a little bit what I thought of when I read it, is
Yeah.
sort of just, you have a second to be like, there's other things that matter. It's not just this person, you know. It's not, maybe not that you're the
Yeah.
only priority. It's more that you've realized that there's other priorities, you know.
Yeah. I don't think they meant it like that at all.
Yeah.
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 And I think it's important to be selfish sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
everyone should be.
Because to be fair, if you're having a bad day, it's not like, I might tell my friends, they might know about it, but it's a different thing when you're in a relationship. Like, it is different than a friendship. That's the whole flipping point.
Yeah.
But so like I completely agree with what you're saying, and like you won't have as much time to think about yourself, because that's why relationships work. And like when it's that something that's so positive in your life, you want to maintain that only makes sense. Like,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys for sending us your submissions for the segment.
Yeah.
And our favourite one will win a sticker as promised. So we will announce that on our
Wow.
Instagram on the day this episode is released.
So keep an eye out.
Okay, so Mary, what do you think? What's your favourite thing about being single?
That has actually really made me think, because I do agree with prioritizing yourself. Like, I don't think I appreciated, like, hearing you guys talking earlier, like, you're having to do long distance, or, like, not being together for a period of time, especially at the moment. That is something I don't even have to think about.
Yeah.
And I would find that so difficult, because, for the obvious reasons, like, I'm lucky that I can just, if I'm having a bad day, I can have a bad day. Like, if I don't want to talk to anyone, I don't have to. And like I already said, I feel like I know and I'm able to just do whatever I need to do to feel okay. And in a non-deep sense, I don't have to be like, oh, what if he doesn't like me? Even though I do that anyway, I don't have to question things. Even though I do that a bit. But if I'm not fancying anyone, like, I'm not even having to think about that. So yeah, I think definitely putting myself first. Selfish.
Yeah.
Like, I do have energy for someone else, though, I'm not gonna lie. But actually, I think that would be really difficult, especially at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good. Like, I wouldn't want to be in this position. I wouldn't choose to be in this position if I wasn't already.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's hard enough. Long distance is hard enough anyway, without all the other shite going on.
So can you tell us, like, a bit about, this is gonna sound really stupid, but like your journey of like being single?
Love it.
And like,
I love it.
like, because you were saying how now you kind of want to be you want to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
So how have you kind of reached that place, I guess?
We had a good chat about this earlier, and that sounds cringy, but it is true, because I feel like it was a weird mental journey that I don't think I'd realise was ingrained with life stuff that was happening to me. I've been single my whole life, not been in a proper relationship, and I went to an all-girls school, boo, and it was really hard. And something I didn't say earlier that I was just thinking about was I don't mean this to sound anti-feminist, but a big thing about the girls' school I went to anyway was like rumours and gossip, and I never, that I was aware of, was there a rumour made up about me. And like, I had friends and I liked people, But I was always so scared about that. And the rumours that went round when you fancied someone would, like, be crazy. Or if you did stuff, like, the rumours were insane. So I would always be really scared about all that until like, sixth form. To the point that I was talking about this with my friend Connie. Like, we wouldn't even tell each other if we fancied someone because we were so nervous about, like, feeling like that. Or, like, someone, like, finding out. And then, like, oh, my God, no, they know that I like another person. Like, that also probably has a big thing to do with that weird thing in girls where fancying someone and sexuality, I guess, is almost not talked about, not portrayed.
Yeah.
Almost a bad thing or something that's not said that that's normal and that's fine if you like someone. But because of all these rumours, so that was a whole thing. Anyway, when I was in school, so I was never one of those people that was in relationships when I was 15. Sixth form, the boys came in and I had what I would call my first, like, breakdown mental health thing. I had really bad anxiety and depression, and, like, I wouldn't go to school and stuff. So I would go to parties and stuff, but I would generally be too scared to put myself out there in that way because I really just struggled with my self-image and confidence in all parts of myself. Like, body confidence is something I still struggle with, but I think I'm able to think of myself as a better person than I did then. Like, it was just that kind of, I hate every single aspect of myself. So in my head, I was like, no one would ever want to be with me. That's depressing, but hopefully other people feel like that as well. Like, it's a thing. Definitely. And it really stopped me from putting myself out there. University come, and I was put in an all-girls hall because what I really needed is an easy way. If I was going to be in a relationship, it would have had to have been easy, like someone in halls or something, I guess. And so, like, you go out a lot and you're, like, clubbing and you get with people, but I never had anything serious. And I still had this real fear of rejection, and I don't think my mental health was properly sorted out. And I went through another really difficult time at uni. Some personal stuff happened with my family, and I genuinely, like, I know I already kind of said this, I could not make time in my head for anything serious. I guess that's the pro of staying single in that way. Like, I would try not to catch feelings for people. It was too much. Like, I didn't have time to focus on anything else other than myself and getting better. For me, that wasn't a possibility. So I finally got better. That was a long process, therapy, all that. I'm very open to a point, because I think therapy is really important. And I don't think I realised how, like, built in that was in me being single, but my mental health had a huge part of it because of that fear of rejection and not wanting to trust anyone. When you're depressed, like, you can't see yourself as anything other than something awful. So why would anyone bother? Like, I like them, but what's the point? They aren't going to like me as well. And then when I finally felt like I'd sorted myself out, like, gone on this journey with myself, cringed, and, like, felt better, COVID hit. So me and my mates are ready to, like, hoe it up. I was like, perfect, like, this is the time. I can now find someone, and I feel confident in myself, not in my body and all that. I still have a lot of problems with that, as I think most people do. That's very normal, but I feel like I'd be able to be in a relationship and know what I would need to, like, make it work. That makes sense. But then COVID hit, and so I remain single. A little bit bitter, but we move. No, I'm not bitter about it. Like, it is what it is. I deal with it. It would be nice to have someone, but not now. Like, absolutely not. It would be chaos. It would be really hard. So hopefully there's people out there who relate. I don't know.
No, I definitely think there are. Like, and also I think even if you had gone into a relationship before the pandemic, going through the beginning stages of that, and then suddenly you get hit with this lockdown, I don't know how you would survive that.
No, neither. Especially because I'd graduated uni, or / was graduating, so living at home. I've been living at home since. I can't really bring a boy home in the middle of a pandemic, like my mum and dad sitting in a lounge. That's awkward. Or maybe that's just me.
Got tested.
Testing everything. It's fine. You guys just stay down here.
Oh my god, that would be horrible.
I know. Maybe that's just me. Like, that would cringe me out so much because my mum would be like, "Hi, oh my god."
I wonder if there are people that have done that though.
I would love to hear that. If people have been, I mean, also the whole thing was I haven't, like, left the house to meet people because of the pandemic. I've only been seeing people I know when it's been allowed. and I'm in Kent,
Yeah.
which is like the
Yeah.
peak of it all with the new strain. So there's been
Oh,
no
yeah,
opportunities unless you go on dating apps, which is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
I was thinking when it's kind of random, but when we were talking about the mental health stuff, basically I was watching Big Mouth season 4, and there's but like I don't know if you guys have watched it, but basically they show like there's like a depression kitty and like an anxiety mosquito, and like the way that they portray it with this girl Jessie, she's like kind of the main girl of the show kind of thing. I don't know, not really, but she's one of the girls in the show. And it's so accurate, it's scary, like it's saying things that it's like, that is like how I fucking feel. And it's like I'm watching it with my boyfriend and I'm like, oh my god, you can finally like fucking see how I feel. But
That's so good.
the reason why I'm thinking about it is because she sort of like gets into this like depression and anxiety funk, and she like goes into this like dark place or whatever. But then she finds a boyfriend and like they go away, and it's like good for a bit, and then they come back, and then the things that they're saying is like different to what it was before. It's like as bad, you know, it's like they're still there, but it's like the different anxiety and depression or whatever. And I think the point is, first of all, I think you should all go watch Big Mouth because it's incredible. You haven't, it's really, really good. I genuinely want, it's such a good show. And it's really educational, I feel. Like, it's really, like, it makes you feel really seen in a lot of ways. Anyway.
Oh, I love that.
But the point I was trying to make is that, like, with things like depression and anxiety and stuff, like, I really love the stuff you were saying, as in, like, you have to get through it yourself, because just because you get someone, like, even if it seems like it's all like sunshine and rainbows for 2 fucking seconds, that depression and anxiety is just going to change into something else. Like, it's just going to start telling you different things. Not that everyone experiences it the same, but at least I've experienced that. So I think that there's so much pressure in this, like, oh, find this perfect person or whatever, and like being alone, and without, like, if you're not alone then all of these things will go away. But that's not true. They just turn into something else, and it's all about like doing that within yourself. And I think that to genuinely, like, with mental health shit and all of those lovely things, in my personal experience, it's like the only way to really make progress and start to overcome it is like if you do it within yourself and like for yourself, even if like the catalyst is someone else pushing you to do that. Let's say like your friend is like, makes me so sad to see you like this, whatever, and you're like, okay, let's get my shit together. And with the moment you start doing it like because you want to and for yourself rather than like for other people or because of this or because of that, it's like the moment that you genuinely start to feel better, or like at least that's how I have experienced it. So I think there's nothing wrong with being single, and also it's not that when you're single you have to work on yourself 24/7 and like strive so you can, you know, be perfect for when you meet that right person or whatever. It's
I'm all day studying.
Yeah.
But it is easier to deal with problems that you can, I don't know, it's more like you, yourself, and I kind of thing, rather than like you have more control over it, rather than trying to bring someone else in to fix it for you or like help you in that or whatever. Like, yeah, of course having people helps, like even if that's a relationship. Support is like, people is what everyone needs, like, you know what I mean? Even if being alone and all that shit. But at the end of the day, like, we all just want and need people to care about us and care for us, and people to care for.
Yeah, and you have like the reassurance that you can get through something like by yourself. That in itself, I think, is so powerful. Knowing that you can figure out something for yourself. And even if you're in a relationship, I think it's easy to think that you can do all those things, especially if you have anxiety or if you have depression. But it's way easier to subconsciously, or like without realizing, expect the other person to help you in some way, or you're like dependent on them. And that's happened to me before as well, and I think that's so dangerous, because then you can lose that person, or you can break up, and then all these things come back to you and you don't have the capability to like deal with it by yourself.
Completely. And something I struggled with, I also don't want to make it seem like anxiety and depression are the only mental health things. Like, that's just what I've experienced. There are obviously many more severe things out there. I did psychology, that's the whole thing. But in my experience, one of my big things was guilt. And so if I was in a relationship and I just know that I would feel so much guilt that I wasn't able to be there for them in a way that I would want to be, or if they were struggling, I wouldn't be able to help them. Like, I felt that enough with my parents and my friends, being like, I'm a burden, blah, blah, blah. I can't imagine, like, it just wouldn't have been right.
Yeah.
And you're so right saying it takes yourself to know.
I wanted to say as well, like, another thing that I miss about being single is that it's hard to date people sometimes when you have, like, mental health problems, that especially people that don't have them, or even people that do have them, because then it's sort of like there's this extra layer of something, you know. And it's not that I'm saying that all of that is put on my boyfriend or whatever, or that I'm putting that on anyone else, but I do think that it must be kind of hard to love someone that is so sad, you know. Like, that must be really shit. Like, I feel really bad for my boyfriend sometimes. Not to be, like, sound like, feel sorry for myself or anything. But I think...
But, like, if he felt like that, he would do something about it.
Yeah, no, of course. But I think in being single, I think that I could learn a lot better to, like, deal with my shit and not, like, put that so much on someone else. Because I think it's, like, it's a big strain, you know?
Yeah. And you're so right with what you said, that it takes you need to be the one to fix it. And don't get me wrong, this is literally just my experience. People have so many different feelings about it. But it literally did take me to be at my worst to be like, I need help. And it might have felt like I was that person that was like, oh, if I had a boyfriend, it would probably be better. And, like, only reflectively am I like, that's not the case. It feels really hard and awful, and you feel like you're going at it alone, even when you're not, because you have amazing support systems, which I did. I was very lucky. And I would feel like I have these amazing people around me. Why do I still feel like this? I'm so lucky in my life. Why am I so selfish that I feel down? But so that would add another layer, like you said, of, like, I just know that wouldn't have cured everything, even if I thought it would.
Yeah.
But now I know it isn't. But I feel very lucky to be able to be in the space to know that now. And, like, even though that was really hard, to have hit the bottom and come back from it, literally, like Honey was saying, like, now I know I can do it. If it happens again, at least I know that myself and myself only can get myself out, which sounds really up myself. And it's not that, it was really hard, but also for me, I feel lucky. And, like, that makes me feel confident in myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I couldn't have done it with another person.
No, I completely get what you're saying.
And I think being in a relationship and, like, having mental health issues, as Maria was saying, you kind of do have in your mind all the time, like, oh, but do they find this really difficult? Or, like, because obviously they want to help you, but you don't necessarily know how they can help you. So then that adds a whole other strain to it. And it's not that, like, people with mental health issues are unlovable or anything. Like, that's not what we're saying, you know, like, it's not like you have to be your best person all the time when you're in a relationship, because that is kind of the nice thing about being in a relationship, that people love you at your worst and at your best. But I think it is such an invaluable thing to be able to figure those things out for yourself. And yeah, someone can help you with it, but that's not necessarily what you need all the time, and that's not necessarily what you want as well. Like, it's a difficult thing to be able to balance.
And also, like, you can't control these things. Like, you could get in a relationship and then have a episode. Like, that's the other thing. I'm not suddenly, like, cured, like, it's over. No, I still have bad days and all that sort of thing. So if I'm in a relationship with someone, I am still the same person. I still have mental health, like, I still have a diagnosis. I don't know if that's too deep. But like, that doesn't just go, like, I'm not suddenly cured. Like, that's still a dynamic to deal with. But just for me personally, I now appreciate that when I was at my worst, I wasn't in a relationship. But you can't control these things, and if you are, there's always a way around it, don't get me wrong. But, like, that's, I guess, was an upside of being single, even though that sounds like it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah. So you're telling us that you do want to date and all those things. So when you, like, if we get out of this ever, which it kind of seems like we won't, but we obviously will, like, when we do, when you start dating, how would you go about, like, do you disclose that you have mental health issues, or like...
That is such a good question, because I was just thinking as we were talking now, I was like, I used to also be really like, no one can ever know about this with my friends. When I was like a couple of years ago, I would never tell anyone. I was ashamed, all that. But part of my this is cringe, I'm gonna say, healing has been to like accept that it's like something that I'm not ashamed of anymore. Like, but then at the same time, I wouldn't meet someone and be like, I have so many problems. Hi, like, but also, yeah, that's a really good question. I wouldn't say I don't tell it to anyone. Like, that sounds weird because I know I have a TikTok and I just talk about it all the time. But if, like, on this podcast, I'm like, ugh. But I, like, it's not actually a personality trait. So, it's weird because I think in my head, I talk to people about it once I trust them. Like, as in, I will happily say, like, I've gone through stuff to someone I've just met, but I wouldn't then text and be like, oh, I feel bad. Like, actively talking about your mental health is different to me than discussing things you've gone through, if that makes sense. Because, I wouldn't say to them, oh, I had a really bad day today. I was, like, crying all morning. I didn't want to come because I was so anxious that you were going to, like, hate me or think I was fat. I don't know how I would approach that. It would take a person that I properly trusted for me to be able to... That is, a vulnerable thing, I think. But it's nothing to be ashamed of as well.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely not the kind of thing that you have to, like, disclose straight away.
It's not like a badge.
I feel like it's so the kind of thing that I'd maybe either bring up sort of, like, really randomly and, like, kind of just in conversation and just say something and not make it a big deal. Or, like, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, I went through, like, this or not. Like, you know, a few dates in, like, when you actually know them.
Yeah, if you think it's going somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's something that I would tell someone that I don't know. I don't think it's something you should disclose or whatever.
Yeah, like on Tinder, like texting people, like, oh, by the way,
mentally ill.
Can you imagine that's in my bio? Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that's like not what I was suggesting at all.
But I now have this image of like, you have to say. But yeah, if it's a stranger, I'm gonna be honest, like, no, I would not. Bring it up.
No, definitely.
But like, you should. I'm not ashamed.
I
but just.
Yeah.
It's like you wouldn't be like, say something else embarrassing about yourself. Like, maybe you eat mayo like yogurt. You're not going to be like, I eat my toenails. You're not going to say that straight away. But when you trust them...
I don't know, some people have some weird shit in their
That is actually so true. Some people send you messages and you're like, Jesus. But yeah, no. But if you trust them, sure, why not? That can bring you closer together.
So what do you think's like the worst part of being single?
Me opens my massive book. No, I'm joking. Definitely, I just feel it very strongly at the moment. And being just, this is so sad. Sometimes I just would love to have someone just come around, give me a cuddle, watch a movie. Like, I think it's just very human. You need that intimacy. Like, and when that's just a part of life. Like, and I guess even being in a long distance relationship, you feel that as well. Like, a physical relationship is important and you miss that. And being on that level with someone that's different. I love my friends and family, but like having a closeness and like, that's hard. And especially at the moment, it almost like amplifies that feeling of, oh God, I'm going to die alone. Like, no one's ever going to love me.
Yeah.
Which, it's hard to get out of that mindset. So also just like knowing that someone likes you as well. That's depressing. Yeah. But I saw a TikTok that was like, this girl was like, I'm single because I like being single. And then it was like, I'm single because no one loves me. And I was like, ooh, it's kind of true. I feel like if you're single for an extended amount of time, maybe it's just me, you get into that headspace of like, I think I'm just unlovable. Cool. And which I'm not saying, like, I know that's depressing, but I feel like most people get that, and it's hard to get out of that cycle. So like it would be good to get out of that cycle, and I'd be like, well, at least now I know, like, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't even have to go anywhere. Just no, No, yeah, just having a companion.
Yeah.
That's so cringe.
Yeah. And I think like a big part of being single is having sex and stuff, and obviously like that's not
how am I
really
doing that?
I mean, I say that, but a big part
And
of
in a
being in a
relationship.
relationship is
Well,
having
yeah.
sex, and like that's also not happening.
Yeah.
right now for some
That's not really
people.
happening for anyone.
Yeah. The sex just isn't a thing
No.
anymore. So yeah, like I can imagine, well, no, not even imagine, I know
Yeah.
not having that intimacy and not like having that physical
Yeah.
closeness is definitely difficult right now for a lot of people.
It's just a weird time.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird time.
What is different about being single, like, during the pandemic rather than before? Like, is there anything that you can sort of put your finger on that you're like, yeah, that, or like maybe that has been surprisingly made it better or surprisingly worse?
I would say it definitely made the things like that feeling of loneliness, like I already rambled on about, a bit more obvious to me, because like there's less to distract yourself with, especially because for me, like I've been furloughed. I work in a pub and I've been furloughed, and it's hard to get another job. Like I'm trying, but it's difficult. So there's less to distract me day to day. But the massive thing is being able to meet new people in person. You can't just go out and meet someone unless you're deliberately already deciding to meet them. And at the moment, you can go on a walk with one person, I think, if you're exercising. But I'm pretty sure that's going to change. And to be honest, I wouldn't do that with someone I didn't know just because of the safety aspect.
No,
Not to be a little weenie, but I just wouldn't risk it.
Just to be responsible.
And the best I could hope for is like I volunteer in the village shop with my parents. Like some boy comes up in the queue and asks for like a banana, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
So like the reliance on phones and texting and dating apps is what's got bigger. And also for me, if you had a crush on someone before the pandemic, that does not like get healthily just put to the side because you found someone else. Who are you going to find? You're going to find no one. So it's hard not to like obsess over things. I think that's the same with everything. But I'm sure like you guys' relationships have changed as well.
Yeah, of course. Have you found anything that you've been like, oh, this has actually been kind of nice about the pandemic in terms of like either like being single or mental health or whatever? Because
in fairness, there's less pressure. Like, so my cousin this is random, my cousin got married in September, who's my age, and I was her bridesmaid.
Oh, wow.
And I'm really happy for her, like, they're lovely, it's gonna work out, all that good stuff. But I was also just like, wow, I am, like, here at the same age, bridesmaid. What? But at least now, everyone's like, well, how are you meant to be in a relationship? And I'm like, you're right. This has nothing to do with me, so it's fine. Like, that, to be fair, that pressure isn't there. From anyone else. Not that you should care what other people think, but there is such a thing on like people, especially women, I think, being single, like everyone's like, oh no, what are you gonna do? And it's like, well, what do you think I'm gonna do? Nothing right now. So at least that's nice. Like, it's annoying, but everyone understands it more. Whereas if you're I feel like for so many people, when they're just single, like in their 20s especially, and like just chilling, I guess, and there's not a pandemic, there's so much judgment. Like, I feel lucky I haven't experienced that much, because I think people in my lives are nice, and I don't talk to people who would judge me like that. Like, they know my situations and stuff. But like, you do see like there is such a stigma about it that's like, leave people alone. God. So yeah, that's a nice thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel the like less pressure thing. Just I think also in terms of not even dating, just even about finding a job, graduating, all of this shit. It's like, no one wants to be doing that right now, and it's like the worst moment to have to like be, you know, to graduate or whatever, to have to find a job. But at the same time, it does have that quality of like, but it's a pandemic. Like, everyone knows that. Exactly. What am I meant to do? It's not my fault.
You feel weirdly guilty.
So,
because everyone's like, oh, you can't do anything anyway, can you? And you're like, yeah, no, and I had all these big plans.
Yeah,
I had so much
it's definitely just it's just COVID, nothing to do with like the person I am and the plans I have for my life.
No, I had big aspirations. This has stopped it. That's the only reason I'm a slob.
Okay, well, Thank you so much for coming on. It is genuinely feeling like we just had a nice chat, like amongst friends.
Yeah.
And
It's so nice.
thank you for like providing a new perspective and sharing about your life. And we hope everyone enjoyed the episode and learned something and finally got a little bit of relief from hearing about me and Maria talking about our relationships constantly. Like we promised, we're gonna show
love it.
another perspective.
Thank you guys for having me on though.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
No, but honestly, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really happy that we got to record and
it's so
talk
nice.
and chat and stuff. And like, honestly, it's been so nice meeting you and talking to you.
Same.
And you're really nice.
Thanks. And you guys are, like, you made me feel so comfortable. So nice.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, if you want to follow Mary on TikTok or Instagram or anything, Mary, where can they find you?
Okay, yeah, if you feel like it. It's mazza.h on TikTok and mazza.h99 on Instagram. Yeah, if you want to just see pictures of my face and like mediocre photography shots, do it.
And if you want to follow us as well, you can follow us on Sextras Podcast on Instagram, Sextras Podcast on Facebook. You can subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, leave us a review, rate us, and share us with everyone you know. It helps us out so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Sextras, presented by Honey Jane Wyatt and Maria Jose Hayodatiyi. Produced by Mabel Productions.